Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing this spring look right here. So I'm starting off with Prep Skin using the Josie Maran face butter, which I love, and I'm going to prime using the Hourglas mineral veil. Moving on to foundation, I'm using the Cover FX Natural Finish foundation with about 4 drops of argan oil mixed in. And I'm just going to apply this to my face with a damp beauty blender, just kind of pouncing it on. I've been using my beauty blender a little bit more lately and I actually really like it. So on to brows, I'm using the Anastasia Dip Brow, but I was getting used to my new setup here and my brows looked extremely dark, so I kept brushing through them trying to tame them a little bit, and they ended up looking a little bit fluffy, so we're just kind of going to skip past this and I'll fill those in later. Moving on to concealer, I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Skin. I absolutely love this concealer. It's so good. It is everything that it claims to be. It's weightless, full coverage, and it's one of the very, very few that I've tried that does not crease on me. So I'm just applying this underneath my eyes, into the inner corners of my eyes, and then actually onto my lid as well as our eye base, and also through the center of the face. So I wore this eye look and my eyes did not crease with this under it, so I was really, really impressed by that. And I'm just going to blend that in with the Beauty Blender as well. Just making sure to tap and not to drag. So to set that concealer, I'm using the MAC Mineralized Loose Powder in the shade Light. And I'm just going to flip my Beauty Blender around and use the pointed end of it. And before you set, make sure that you blend away any creases that might have happened, because whatever you set with powder is kind of how it will stay. So just make sure to blend everything out before you put powder on top. And then I just like to go around the edges to make sure it's blending into my face. To set the rest of my face, I'm using MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Pressed in Medium Tan. And this MAC 137 brush is great. It's just big and tapered and very, very fluffy. So it gives me a really light wash of powder without, you know, just making it too heavy and putting too much product on. So I just really tap this where I was shiny and where I'm going to put bronzer. For eyes, I'm going to use a MAC 224. It's a big fat blending brush, and I'm using the color Saddle. It's a warm mid-tone brown. And I'm just blending this completely in my crease from corner to corner. I'm also going to take that shade with a pencil brush onto my lower lash line. And then because we did eyes after face, I like to tap over with the sponge just on the edges to make sure it's blended. So for a tacky base, I'm going to use a very thin layer of glitter glue by Too Faced. So I'm just using my finger to tap this onto my lid. And on top of that, I'm going to press Afterglow Pigment by Geek, which is beautiful and totally the star of the show. So I'm just going to tap that on top, and then I'm going to do a layer with a wet brush. So I'm going to get some on my brush, spritz it, tap that on top of the first layer. And then when I get to my crease right here, I'm not going to add any additional product on my brush. I'm just going to spray it, and I'm just going to drag in the corner. So it's going to pick up any excess product on the lid and bring it up to the crease. This is going to keep your pigment from transferring and traveling upwards throughout the day. And I'm just going to blend it, go back. So you have to work a little bit with pigments, kind of spend a little bit of time doing this, but the result is totally worth it. It's so vibrant. And this color is just like a very pale champagne. It's beautiful. So I'm just going to go back and forth between my fingers and the brushes just until I feel like the edges are diffused to my liking. And then underneath my brow, I'm just taking that small brush and using Rice Paper by MAC. It's a light pale yellow. And this brush is a miscellaneous crown brush, but any small dense shadow brush will work. So for my waterline, I'm using Costa Riche by MAC. It's a very red, warm-toned brown pencil. I'm just applying this to my waterline and into my lashes. And then I'm going to go over with that same pencil brush and just blend everything through so there's no kind of skips or jags or any lines. And then I'm going to take a flat liner brush. This one is by Morphe, but the number rubbed off. So I'm just going to put some pencil on there and then blend that into my lashes and then apply a thin coat of mascara. And then while my lash glue is drying, I'm going to use a mixture of rice paper and afterglow in my inner corner. For lashes, I'm using these Ardell Double Whispies. These are a double up. I really like the way the lash looked, but they were giving me a lot of trouble. If you have a more almond eye, these might not be so hard for you, but my eye is very rounded through the center and they just did not want to lay down. So I had to spend a lot of time kind of pressing them right here and flipping them upwards, but they were pretty. Moving on to the rest of the face, I'm going to use bronzer. This is Give Me Sun by MAC, and I'm just using a fluffy angled brush to apply this to my cheeks and my temples to give me some warmth. And then I'm going to use a mixture of MAC Peaches and Luminoso blush by Milani. The Peaches is matte and the Milani one is more shiny, so I'm just mixing these together. And for highlight, I'm actually taking that afterglow pigment as well. So I'm just tapping this onto the high points of my cheek and right above my brow. I'll also take a little bit through the center of the face. I think it took me about 3 layers to get my desired brightness. And I'm just going to go over with the Beauty Blender once more just to make sure there's no lines. To cover my lash band, I'm going to use Tarte Clay Pot in the shade Black, and I'm using just an angled brush by Morphe just to drag it over so I can kind of move over my lashes. And I'm just applying a really thin layer of this. It's not going to look like I'm wearing liner, it's just to cover the lash band and the glue, just to kind of close the gap from the lashes to the lid. And then at this point I decided to go over my brows, so I'm just using the dip brow again with a small angled brush, and I'm just going over the tails, pretty much just the outer edges, blending it up a little bit. But this just strengthened the brows a lot for me, and I think they looked a lot better after this. And then moving on to lips, I'm using Boldly Bare by MAC. This is the perfect peachy pinky nude. This is like one of my staple lip colors. I have to have this. I think this is like my 20th pencil of this. It's super creamy. I'm just going to outline my lips and then also fill in the entirety of my lips with it. And then for lipstick, I'm going to top it off with Sushi Kiss, also by MAC. This is a very pale coral, but this lip liner underneath it makes it a little bit more wearable. So I'm just going to apply this. This is an amplified finish, so it gives you a really great shine, but the color itself is still very pigmented. And that is it for the video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.